years and still talking. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, look at that. That's New York City, and that's where we're doing our program from. And we'll be here until midnight Eastern Time. Hello, everybody. How are you? Alex Bennett. Here I am. I'm all piss and vinegar and ready to go. And I wasn't going to do a show tonight. I'll explain why I am doing one tonight in just a moment. Let me just blow my nose. You know, I've been blowing my nose constantly. I had a cold. Started Thanksgiving Day, I think it was. And this cold just kept going and going and going. And to this day, I wake up in the morning. I got a little bit of it. This morning I was hoarse, and then it cleared up. But I'm still a little gargly. But this cold just went on and on and on and on. And I was fighting it like crazy. But I guess we're okay now. We're getting there. Another day or two, I probably should be able to get up and tell you, hey, I don't have a cold anymore. I used to get colds when I was younger. And I would get a cold on the first day. Okay, let me just even this out. There we go. What can I say? I want everything to be just right for you folks out there. I used to get a cold on the first day. I would feel it coming on. Then the next day, the cold would be really horrible. And on the third day, it would start going away. And by the fourth day, I didn't have a cold anymore. That was my colds. Okay? Now I get a cold. And this one went on, as I say, starting on Thanksgiving Day and working its way to right now. I'm better, but not completely better. So anyway, here's to you. I'm having coffee. Probably keep me up tonight. No, it won't, because I'll take my happy pills. And they put me to sleep. But then I wake up the next morning and I'm groggy. But you see, they don't mind giving you groggy pills when you're my age, because they figure, you don't have much to do you? No, I only have a show here to do where I have to tell people about the world around us and engage them in discussion. Okay. So, anyway, let me tell you why I'm here tonight and why I was going to take tonight off, and I was going to take Tuesday night off, and the reason why was because of our trial. As you know, for the last many years, there has been a thing going on with this apartment that we live in, and it goes on and on and on. Let me explain it to you a little bit in case you aren't up to date on it and you want to know what it's about and you're just tuning in for the first time. If you've heard this before, go somewhere else. I don't know what there is to listen to. And then come back and see me in about a half hour, because I'm going to have to. I'm going to tell why I'm here tonight. Anyway, we rented this apartment from a guy, okay? And we started paying him rent every month, $4,200 a month. And then about 3 years in, the landlord says, hey, you have people illegally living in your apartment, and they must be thrown out, otherwise we're throwing you out. It was called a notice to cure. Boy, they come up with terms, don't they? I wish that would happen with my prostate cancer. Notice to cure. All right. Anyway. So then about 2 months later, he gets another thing from them saying, well, we're evicting you as well. So go. All right. So now this whole thing blows up. One thing leads to another. He says to me, you got to leave. We want you to leave when your lease is up in August. And this was like April. And I said, we're not going anywhere. I said, we have the expectation of renewal because we've been good tenants and we paid you every month. And now you're throwing us to the wolves because you can't defend this thing. So he said, well, you're not going. I'm going to have to go to my lawyers. And I said, well, we'll find some ourselves. And we went and found ourselves a lawyer. And Marjorie and I went into this lawyer and we told him what was up. He looked at the situation, looked back at us, and he said, it's illusory tenancy. I said, what? What's illusory tenancy? He says, well, that's a law whereby if you don't actually live in the place, but you lease it out and it's rent stabilized. This fan isn't going on. Why? I guess I gotta, What's, oh, don't tell me. Oh, there we go. There we go. What it is I think I need a new thing in here. Yeah, I need a new thing. Anyway, your battery. Anyway, they said illusory tenancy is when a guy doesn't actually live in the apartment and he then sublets it, or rather than sublets it, just leases it out. Now, under the law, you can't do that. All right. So then he said, well, what are the papers you have? And we showed it to him, and it was a lease. It wasn't a sublet. And he said, this is illusory tenancy. He was overcharging you and everything. He said, because if it was a sublet, he could only charge you what he was paying for the apartment. And if it came furnished, 10%. All right? But otherwise, you're entitled to all your money back, all the difference between what he was paying and what you were paying, plus double damages over that. So treble damages total. And plus, he has to pay a lot of other things too. Marjorie and I looked at each other. We're going, we were expecting we're going to go in there, and he goes, well, there's not much we can do. You better just get the hell out of there. He said, no, don't get out of there. Stay there. And don't, I said, what about paying him rent? And he said, I wouldn't send him another penny. I said, then we won't be paying rent. Do we need to save it up? And he said, only if you want to. He said, there's no reason to. And that was it. We left that place high-fiving each other. That was, let's see, April of 11, 12, 13, 14, April of 2014. What is it now? What is it now? Let's see here. When we got in there on the 11, so 11 is 1 year. 11, 12, 13. Maybe it's since 2013. That could be too. Yeah, that could be. Yeah, 2013. So that's how many years? That's at least 6 years more, plus change. And it's just been one little legal battle after another. And now $68,000 later, because that's how much we've spent on legal expenses, we're finally at the point where we were supposed to go to trial. So a couple of months ago, we were supposed to go to trial. And I don't know, one of the lawyers, his mother was sick and he had to take her to the hospital or something. So we had to postpone it to this week. And this was going to be the trial, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. They figure it's going to take that long. If this were a murder trial, it might be shorter, but, I really should have committed murder, then it would have been simpler. And the lawyer's fees wouldn't be as bad. Anyway, so I get ready for this, right? For the trial. For this trial, so they moved it up, and they moved it to these 3 days, okay? So that's why I took Tuesday and Wednesday off. It's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, but we're not on Mondays. And I was ready to go, ready to do it, ready to fight the good fight. We go down to 60 Center Street, which is the office building, the federal office building. That's where the court is. It's in federal court. And, or is that Supreme Court? I can't remember. I think it's federal court. It doesn't matter. Anyway. We go in there, and my lawyer is talking with the other lawyers, with the judge at the table, and they're arguing back and forth about stuff and trying to make their case because the judge is trying to settle it. okay, rather than have it go to trial. So he's, as a judge, trying to sit there and adjudicate it, and and just force the parties to come together. And after that, my lawyer comes to us and says, "I think we did pretty well there. We did very well in that go round. But nobody's giving." So he then says, "Oh, the judge wants to see each of the parties in his chambers." So I guess he wanted to see him in his chambers to get an idea of who wanted what and who was willing to give how much, so it didn't have to go to trial. Because he's trying like crazy not to go to trial. Usually people want to work, but he doesn't want to. He would rather not have to sit there and listen to this stupid case about some people with an apartment, and two of them being Altacacas, if he doesn't have to. So we then go in, and all of a sudden, there's this woman who is the judge's assistant, and she just does all the talking, and she's really adversarial, okay? She's going, you're never going to prove illusory tendency, and you're never going to be able to do this, you're never going to be able to do that, and if I were you, I would settle right now. If this goes to court, well, my lawyer knows illusory tendency. He knows tenancy law. He sleeps tenancy law, okay? And she doesn't. Admittedly, she's probably a good law assistant, but her look at the law is very general, and she doesn't know this area of what do you call it, residential law or whatever. And so she's trying to, he later on, he said all he was trying to do was scare us. Okay, because she was trying to work with the judge to kind of get some answer to the situation. And it's funny. The judge says to me, "So, Mr. Schwarzman, do you work?" I said, "No, I'm kind of retired." I said, "I do a podcast." I said, he said, "What did you used to do?" I said, I was in broadcasting." He said, "Well, anywhere I would know?" I said, "Well, Sirius XM for about 9 years." And he said, "Oh." And he said, "Anything else?" I said, "Oh, yeah, early on, WMCA and WPLJ here in New York." He says, "Were you one of the good guys?" And I said, "Yeah, I was. I was one of the good guys." And he says, Oh. I said, "In fact, I was the last good guy." I says, "Oh, great. I remember the good guys. Hell, So anyway, then he's trying to kind of not be as nasty as his assistant because it's good cop, bad cop. And what they're still trying to do is to get somebody to cave and fold and whatever, okay? So he says, "What kind of rent do you want?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know, $1,500 a month, something like that." He says, "How about $2,250?" I said, "We could talk about it, And that was about it. And then we all went out, okay? Now, the guy who owned this apartment was asking for $300,000, and he would go away, okay? And that's what he was asking for. Now we get out there, and he looks at me and Marjorie and says, "Would you go for $2,250?" And Marjorie goes, and I says, "Yes, we would." And I said, "I don't know. I'd be happy with $1,500. I'm just trying to make a deal here. If I can get the apartment for $1,500, great. If I can't, I'll take it at $2,250. I mean, after all, look at what we got. All right." So our lawyer says, "Well, we'll have to discuss this later on." But it looked like we would kind of cave and fold in that area. They go, I don't know if they asked the landlords if they would give on anything. But then they go over to the guy who rented us the apartment, and they say to him, "Well, how much do you want?" And they had just heard him say everywhere $300,000. He goes, "I want $350,000. And my lawyer goes, "Our deal doesn't sound so bad right now." Anyway, all of a sudden he jumped from 300 to 350,000, and he doesn't even really have a case, okay? And I don't even think his lawyer was happy with him suddenly changing the amount. Okay. And so the judge said, I guess we can't do anything. We'll have to go to trial. So now it's trial time. It's setting another trial date. And this one is, I'm forgetting when these dates are. But this one's going to take me out of here for about 4 days. Because they're going to do a Friday morning and then they're going to do I don't know, what is it? I don't even remember here. A Friday morning, let's see here, trial. Where's the trial? Oh, there it is. Friday morning, a Wednesday morning, a Thursday morning, and a Thursday, a Friday, and a Saturday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of the next week, which would take me out of here all those days. In fact, it would take me out the first day. It might not take me out the last day because I could still do a show. But anyway, it's just, I may have to take the whole week off. And it's going to cost us, you think we spent $68,000 and that's a lot of money? Guess how much it's going to wind up ending here? You know, and we probably won't get our money back because their attitude is, hey, lawyer's fees, well, that was your rent for the last couple of years. So we're going to sit around owing something like, I don't know, $50,000, something like that. It's just ridiculous. And the thing that's amazing about this to me is how slow the process is and how ungiving they are to people like Marjorie and I. You know, I'm now a senior. I'll use that as an excuse. I'm about to turn 80. I'll be 80 next week on Thursday, okay? If I make it, because I may get a death sentence on Monday when I see the oncologist. So I may not live through till Thursday, but I think I will make it to 80, okay? And Marjorie is, well, I won't say how old she is, but she's just a few years younger than I am. And what's happened here is that I'm on a fixed income and she is working, but gee, I don't want to have to see her keep working. She's slaving away. I mean, she's done a wonderful thing of keeping money coming into this place. I'm not as good at it. I'm an asshole when it comes to it, you know. So I just don't have the ability anymore. You know, I keep thinking, hey, how can I make some money? And I'm going, voiceovers, I don't think I got an edge on that one. How about teaching? I don't know anywhere I could teach. You know, so I have nothing to teach. All I can teach is radio, and that doesn't exist any longer. If I give a bunch of kids a lesson on how to do radio, they're going to wind up doing radio that doesn't exist any longer. So I may as well let somebody else handle that and tell them how they can, you know, voice track a radio show or something like that. But, you know, so we don't have a lot of money, you know, and we're going to be $50,000 in debt, which Marjorie will be paying off because it's on her apartment, which, you know, I mean, okay, so we have to pay it off, you know. But we just have, it's gone on and on and on. And cost us a ton of money every time somebody does something that puts I'll give you an example. The prick who was our landlord, let me call him the prick, okay? He, at one point, decided that he wanted a summary judgment. What a summary judgment is, he just said, well, we think that there's enough evidence here that the judge can make a decision. So they threw it in front of a judge. And what we had to throw at him were all kinds of papers and this and that. It was the most expensive part of this process that we've had so far. Our guy worked on a document explaining the entire case and why we should win it. And it cost us $12,000. All right? So it was very expensive. And just because this prick decided he wanted a summary judgment, which he never got. Okay, and any good lawyer, including his own, I would imagine, would tell him that he wouldn't get it. But he even goes against his lawyer's judgment on things. He's just, I want $350,000, but you just said you wanted $300,000. What changed? The cost of your shoes. What? By the way, the funny part about him knowing me, or not knowing me, or knowing the good guys at WMCA and being somewhat impressed by that, we go back out and he's impressed by the fact that the guy who was our landlord he wasn't a famous basketball player, but he played for the Knicks for like 2 years. And he was impressed by that. Knick player for 2 years. I had a Knick player in my court. The guy never amounted to anything. He went over to Europe to work for European basketball teams. Then he came back and he did something in the basketball union and whatever, but, pretty much a failure. Anyway, so here we are. I took the day off yesterday just because I felt like it and because I was just emotionally exhausted from this whole thing. And I'm still emotionally exhausted from it. But, what the hell? Life goes on. Obla fucking da. So but I just think that there should be accommodations for people like ourselves who don't have deep pockets, who are entering our years of retirement and can't afford this. I mean, a judge should say, hey, these people can't afford this. Let's make a deal with them, Anyway, it's just, the landlord's willing to give us the apartment for $2,250. But the landlord's not willing to give him $350,000 to go away, and they're willing to go to a court case about it. Which, if he prevails, which he could, is only going to get him about $50,000, which is less than he paid for his lawyers and all of this. And if he hadn't done that stupid summary judgment thing way back when, he probably wouldn't have spent as much money. But thank you very much. You cost us a ton of money, you fucking prick. So I've gotten an idea of what the judiciary is all about. This judge is fine. He's a nice enough guy. His assistant, we don't like because she was kind of mean to us. But she was playing the bad cop to his good cop. And what they were trying to seek was a settlement. Our lawyer wrote me, I said, boy, at the thing, she looked at us, she said, well, this could go two ways. You guys could lose the apartment and be thrown out of there. And on the other hand, the other guy could come out of this with nothing. And you get the apartment. And we kind of felt bad about that. And we asked afterwards, is that a possibility? And the reply from our lawyer was, she was only doing that because she was trying to get us to cave. So they were trying to get all the parties to cave so that it would be, we wouldn't have to go to trial. And I said, I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. So anyway, that's our long story of what went on. And I bet nobody's even interested, right? No, not very many people heard it, so not very many people are going to know what went on, okay? So fuck them, right? We'll just keep it between us. If there's anybody who normally listens to this show and didn't listen to it tonight and say, well, what happened to Alex and his court case? Don't tell them, okay? Just leave it at that. Because we only have let's see, 21 people listening right now on the TV. What's on the audio? How many people on the audio? Let's see here. How many people on the audio? Oh, 11. Well, I said I wasn't going to be on tonight, and I went on my Facebook page and I said I would be on. And nobody ever pays attention to anything I write or say. Consequently, for instance, last night I'm listening to Jack Bishop's show. And Jack is saying, Alex won't be on tomorrow night because he's got the court trial. I sent him a fucking email a day earlier. And it was, I guess he doesn't check his email. Yeah. But anyway, let's get going with some of our callers here. I didn't even turn the phone on, but she saw that I was on somehow. Let me see here. Let me go here. Wait a minute. I'm trying to find. Oh well.
Looks trippy. It looks trippy. It looks like a 3D background.
I got to tell you about that. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Let me just get this here. Let me see here. Do we have? Let me see here. Bob Kazoo. There we go. There she is. There is Kathleen, ladies and gentlemen, better known as Schmoody. Let me see here. No, my blurry background.
Yeah.
That's because with my camera that you see, not the one that's on the air, but the camera you see, you can blur your background. You probably can too if you go up to preferences and then you go over to audio video, and then you will see that you can actually click a button that says blur background. Why'd you do that? What are you doing that for?
Because it's too much to do.
What do you mean it's too much to do?
And my background is boring anyway, so why blur it?
So it gets less boring?
And, really, like, nobody reads your stuff. I was offended.
Offended about what?
Contrary to popular belief, blondes can read.
Blondes can read. That's correct.
Yes.
That's correct. Wait a minute. Where's my? I'm looking for the thing where I can turn on my my Skype. My actual preferences. No, it's not preferences. No, it's not there. I'm trying to see. I didn't turn on my my thing saying that I'm active, and so therefore.
There's a kitty. Can you see the kitty?
I see the kitty. Was
the kitty by the fire.
Wow, isn't that idyllic?
Yeah, really.
Wait a minute. I'm trying to figure out where my. I'm supposed to. I want to say that I'm active, and I'm not. I don't have. I can't find it. Oh well. This is. Let me see here. Oh well. What do you do? Oh, you throwing stuff at your son?
Yeah, but there's a big pillar in the way, and so he's laughing at me.
Yeah. Let me see here. I'm just trying to say that I'm on, and I can't find the thing at all that allows me to do it, because I used to be able to do it just by. Let me see here. Oh, there we go. I found it. Okay, active. Okay. Now we're active, I guess.
Are you making toast?
Yeah, we're active.
You're a jackwagon.
Okay, we're active. All right, now we're fine. But anyway, will anybody else call? That's the question. Maybe they didn't get the memo along with Jack, but I put it up on my Facebook page.
I saw it.
Yeah, And I decided to do a show tonight because I would be lying if I did 2 nights saying, "Oh, I got my trial."
Well, I saw last night that you said you weren't going to do a show, and I was like, well, he said he wasn't going to do a show.
Yeah. So that was last night, but then tonight, I'm just wondering. I guess nobody thought that I was doing a show tonight.
So let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Do I need to send Vinny and Louie Catigliano to the owner of your apartment?
What do you mean, to break his legs?
Yes.
Oh, no.
I know. I'm kidding.
No. I would say if you have to hurt him a little, yeah, okay. Wait a minute. Now Charlie Wallace isn't coming in here.
Oh, boo!
What is wrong? Don't tell me I've got this problem again. Oh,
it's because you blurred your back.
Wait a minute. Oh, there he is. Finally. Yeah, I was having a little trouble getting you in there for a second.
So.
Yeah, I don't know why. But, they probably upgraded the system again,
They do.
Yeah. Every time they upgrade the system, this happens.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hey, so how many square feet is your apartment?
2,500.
Nice. That's
Okay.
bigger than my house. Wow.
Oh.
And for like 15 to 22.50, I mean, houses here, I could rent my house out, and it's only $2,100. I can rent my house out for $2,700 a month.
Marjorie rents out a very small apartment, okay, which she owns, okay, and that she charges a rent of $2,300 a month.
Nice.
So I know that's a bargain. Why don't I try for a bigger bargain by saying $1,500? Right? I'm just bargaining.
Exactly.
If they're going to play good cop, bad cop, I'm going to play good cop, bad cop. Right? So.
Exactly.
So but it's just it goes on and on and on. And I mean, after it's all over, we're going to have a hell of a bill, for the lawyer, which we're going to have to pay off. It'll take us years to pay it off. Yeah. And why? We didn't do anything.
Right.
We just sat here with our fingers up our ass thinking we had an apartment, and then all of a sudden all this crap happens.
My parents, my parents' property.
Yeah.
And so since you have been there, they've added another garage with like an atrium, and they have full solar, so they're off the grid, and they're on a well, so they're off the city plumbing. And their payment is $1,700 a month. And that is only for the property tax.
The property tax is that high?
Well, I mean, you're in California, sitting on 5 acres, overlooking the ocean. I mean, but you know what? I'll take the house for $1,700 a month.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. I mean,
yep.
What the hell?
Exactly.
So is your father going to?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to dump some money into this house, rent it out, and probably end up in Gualala.
Why not? And
exactly.
I'm sure your father would be happy if you lived up there with him.
Yes.
And then you wouldn't even be paying rent at all.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So.
And there's a huge garden, and he goes, yeah, I mean, prior to my mom's passing, both my mom and my dad said, oh yeah, if you want chickens, you can have chickens, maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And we have the garden is massive, and it's all fenced in and covered.
Yeah. Well,
you should see the pot plants my parents grew 3 years ago.
Oh, really? Good for them.
Yeah. Well, you know what? When my mom my mom had tremors, and my brother Mike, who works for ILM, he has tremors, and so does my niece Raven.
Yeah.
Who is
he still at ILM?
Yes, he's working on The Mandalorian.
Oh wow, beautiful work on that show.
Yes.
Wow.
So my mom had the tremors, so her doctor said, well, why don't you try CBD oil? So she was on CBD oil. Then she got breast cancer, and they said what saved her from the cancer metastasizing was the CBD oil.
Well, I don't know. I question.
Well, she had it for 2 years, and they didn't know it.
Yeah, I just question whether it's, whether the CBD really is that efficacious. Is that a good word? Did I just use a good word? Did I use a good word?
Yes.
I don't know. Do you know the King's English? I sure hope he is. Thank you.
The Halsteads immigrated from Yorkshire, England, and landed in New York in 1640. Caleb Halstead and Rebecca Ogden.
Really?
So I have my family tree going back to 1100.
Wow. So,
I mean, I would love to live in High Halstead, Lancashire.
Yeah. By the way, on this thing with Ancestry.com and those 2 people named Marino, who's supposedly my brother and sister.
Yeah.
Somehow it's really wrong, because when you look at them, they were the children of my mother, Ruth, and they were born in Spain. Or I don't know, something about them being born in Spain, or the parents born in Spain. There's somebody put that in somewhere, and it managed to get into our thing. But
I got off of Ancestry. I was on Ancestry, and I ended up grabbing my tree.
Yeah.
and getting out of there.
But let's get back to your parents' place. Lovely place, by the way. And a home that they built themselves. They designed it, and
My dad designed it.
They designed it for them. It's a kind of
Yeah.
house. Somebody said to me, I think they said to me, this is going to have very low resale value because we built it for us, not for somebody else. You know? There are people I know who have done that, and they understand that if you build something for yourself, you're going to have a hard time getting rid of it because
Well, they'll probably get. I mean, once my dad passes, will probably get 10 million. I don't know how much because it's there on the Mendocino coast.
yeah, yeah. But it's a wonderful. It's 3 stories if you count the basement.
Yeah, and the basement is only half of the whole house, but it's got a staircase. It's got a full hydraulic elevator.
That goes down to the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah,
goes-
they
yep,
put in a
so you
hydraulic.
when you walk in, you're on the main floor.
Charlie, check this out. They put an elevator in, and I said, "Who puts an elevator in their house?" And he said, "Your father said to me, you know, we expect to live here till we die, and one day we're going to be too old to walk these stairs, and we're going to be happy we have an elevator." Did they
Yes.
finally get to the point where they had to use that elevator?
Well, what happened is my mom had back surgery and she was fine and dandy, and she had a couple more, and then she had one that went awry, and she was pretty much wheelchair bound. Because I remember my dad folding out the design in our dining room table in Fremont, and us kids going, "Geez, Dad, an elevator, how pretentious." And he looked at us because he was a structural engineer, and he said, "You never know what could happen. This is where we're going to retire, and this is where we'd like to die." And boy, when my mom had that surgery and she came home, we said, "Holy shit, Dad, good call."
Yeah, yeah. No, it was a very good call, and
Yeah.
I think a good decision and an expensive decision. The elevators don't come cheap.
Yeah.
You know.
But my parents were very good. They were very frugal, even though there were 6 of us kids.
I think if I
My
remember
mom was-
I think I remember correctly when I went there, and at the time that I went there, I was in my early 50s, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I took the elevator. That's how
It was
lazy
fun.
I was.
I mean, I remember when I had Sean, and so my mom was here with me. And then we went up to Gualala, and I was up there for 2 weeks, and my parents insisted that I take the elevator, which was hilarious.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful home, just a beautiful home, and a very nice area. Here's the story, and I'm sure you'll appreciate this, Charlie. She has me go up there with her, and we drive it. I think late at night we drive it.
And it was before the house was finished. Was the first time we went up there.
Yeah, yeah. Before the house was finished. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get Tony on here.
I heard you said your mom has people in Spain, Alex?
No.
No. Forget that.
He said that was a mistake.
No, it's a mistake. Anyway, we were talking about a big mistake on
Ancestry.
Anyway, so we're driving up there at night, and I had my Acura with the GPS. In those days, when you had a GPS, when you had a GPS in a car, you had something special because nobody had GPSs in their car. And the road going up there is, I'm not kidding you, like this. It's the highway. It's the highway, and there's an ocean on one side, by the way, and
sheer cliffs on one side and then mountains on the other.
And it's and we're doing this at night. Well, because I had the GPS, she was sitting there going, "Curve coming up." Really?
Yoko.
Not Yoko wasn't saying that. We called our woman Yoko because she actually had a Japanese accent.
Yep.
Yeah, and boom, boom, boom. And you're giving me literally next curve coming up.
Yeah.
Curve coming up. Curve coming up. And we got, I don't know how many curves we had to make. I was getting nauseous. But that was the biggest windy road I've ever been on in my life. They couldn't maybe run a straight line. I don't know. Some kind of
Well,
drunk
you know
engineer.
what? Once I go, now what I do is, once I come out of Jenner, you go along the windy roads, and there's this one turnoff, and you go up and over the hills, and that's what I take now. And it's not windy; it's up and over the hills, and it drops you down by Timber Cove. And after that, it's a straight shot to Sea Ranch and to Gualala.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a beautiful place, and you're lucky to have it.
Yeah.
And it's $1,700 a month.
Yeah.
And it's all paid for, right? It's all paid for?
It's all paid for. I mean, my parents built the house, I think, for like $250,000. So they bought the land. They bought the 2 acres for $250,000. What happened is when we were kids, my parents used to take us up there and we used to go abalone diving. So they got to know the people in town, and then they bought the 2 acres. So then they move up there and they build the house, and then there was the other 3 acres next door, and I guess my dad made a offer the people couldn't refuse, and he bought the other 3 acres. So now it sits on 5 acres, and it's all
it's nice.
ocean
Nobody can
views.
build around you too. Your dad was smart because nobody could build around his house.
Nope.
Wait a minute, I got to change something here. All of a sudden, I lost Kathleen, and Tony wound up in her place. So let me go back to her there. Okay,
Are you sick, Tony?
I got a little cold, I think. Alex.
Oh boy, you got what I got.
It was 60 degrees yesterday. I went to the store to get my mother her medicine. It's like, it's hot. I came back. She said, "What's the matter?" It's like 60 out there, I said.
That's summer or
I
spring.
was like, yeah.
60 is 44 here.
It was,
like
it was
58
60.
degrees, Charlie. I was
No,
like,
it was
oh
day
my
before
God.
yesterday. It was 60. Then last night it went down to into the 30s, and it snowed.
Yeah, I woke up this morning. I look out the window. It looks nice. It snowed overnight. It looked nice. And I was looking at the trees.
I wish it
I was
would.
like, snow. You're right. And then 60 degrees. It was crazy the last 2 days.
Yeah.
I work in a warehouse that is constantly 30 degrees.
Oh, I had that. Oh, God, mine was even. They were so cheap in my place. They used to turn the heat off on us. I used to turn it back on.
He worked at a place that was cold, really cold in the winter, really hot in the summer.
Oh, hot wasn't the word. I drank so much water in that place. It was like 100 degrees. I'm in good shape. So, but
You
even
should
then,
have turned them.
going up and
You
down
should have
the
turned
stairs,
them
I
in.
couldn't take
You
it
should have
anymore.
turned them into the city. The employer.
I should have turned them into the labor board. I might have had a case, I think.
Yeah.
I
This is
actually looked at the
Costco.
staircase one time. I said, if I just fake an injury, I might be able to sue my uncle.
This is
Okay, my
Costco
brother
chill
fake-
freeze.
Make a fall, he said. Just lay on the bottom.
So it's the Costco that gets all the meat, chicken, all the produce. So we're constantly at a 30-degree.
Yeah. Why is it? Can I ask you a question about Costco?
Yes.
Why is it their meat has gotten so expensive?
Oh, got more?
Oh, it's just brutally
I like the
expensive.
pot pies there, Alex,
and well, we don't have the pot pies at ours.
Oh, you don't have them no more?
No,
You know, each
not at ours.
Costco has
Mother bought
different
it once.
stuff.
I got to look again. Oh,
Yeah,
they
each
took them-
Costco has different stuff. Sometimes they have it, and sometimes they don't. And I asked them once
one
why
more
we don't,
Mountain has.
and they said because we don't have enough requests for it. And you know
Oh,
what?
I like
They
that.
made these great meatballs, right?
I didn't try
And I
those.
love their meatballs. They're not making them anymore.
It
For the
sucks.
last
I mean, I
month.
could make them, but you just throw them in the sauce and let them cook, right? That's what you put them in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Safeway has these meatballs that are so spicy, and I mean, they're in the meat section. I can't handle them. My son, when I put them in my marinara, I won't even touch the marinara, and I let my son, hey, have it all, Sean.
Yeah, but
Have your spicy meatballs.
but they did something
shit
with
goes out
they
there,
did
that
something
way.
with the fucking meatballs. We don't get the meatballs, and some weeks I get the what I get is I get the Cobb salad, right?
I've seen it.
And then
Disney
some
has that.
weeks they don't have the Cobb salad.
Yeah.
They didn't have the
Yeah.
Cobb salad for like 2 weeks. Fuck you. Give me some consistency, you motherfuckers. But then the meat prices have gone sky high, and the quality of the meat has gone hell low. I mean, it's
that
terrible.
must be in New York. Aren't the one in
I got my
Tracy,
coffee
man,
there.
everybody raves over, and their prices are far lower than Safeway.
Well, I'm sure they're far lower than Safeway, but they're still getting the meat prices have just gotten out of. Okay, let me tell you this. every week I like pick up some strawberries. Even if they're a little out of season, they're good
Right.
enough that I can.
I do that with the blueberries for my pancakes.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
How much do you think one of the things,
They're
a two pound,
expensive,
a 2 pound thing of strawberries, they were charging?
$8?
No,
Oh,
$5.99.
Okay, yeah. I think that's
Usually
6
during the
fruits.
summer they go for like $1.50 or $2.
Stop and Shop has good fruit sometimes on sale for that.
What?
I go to Stop and Shop for it. Do you have a Stop and Shop?
Yeah, we only have one Stop and Shop, and it's all the way hell and gone down at the bottom of the island.
Okay, we can get it then. So I can walk to mine.
We don't have Stop and Shop because we're not as déclassé as you people in Queens.
I know, we have the Stop and Shop. I got my card.
And where are you, Tony?
I'm in Queens. I'm actually, Maspeth is a small suburb of Queens. So actually, if I wanted to get into the city, I'm in the city in 10 minutes. I can walk to Queens Boulevard and just jump on the 7. So it's
And
kind of
Alex, you're in Manhattan, right?
Yeah, I'm in Manhattan.
And where were you? Those pictures you were showing me, like is it where your aunt lives in the country?
Wait a minute, where's this? What picture?
Tony.
Oh, Tony.
Oh, that, you know what that was? I showed them pictures.
Oh, yeah, you're communicating with him, aren't you?
Yeah, I did that with, you know what it is? That's right over the bridge in Cresskill, New Jersey. It's right over the GW, Alex. Cresskill, it's only like 30 minutes away. It looks like the country. Maybe 45 minutes. That's about it. And they live on a dead end with a brook.
Tony is my BFF messenger guy.
Yeah.
He's really the only guy I'll message with. Like long conversations, pictures and stuff. Everybody else, I'm like, meh.
Wait till he starts sending you pictures of fucking Scooby-Doo.
He already sent me one. I mean, Sean and I love Scooby-Doo.
Oh, no, I think she's cackling in the back. I got to check on her.
Your mother is cackling in the back? What is she, a witch?
Either that or it might be the death rattle. I'm joking. She needs her fix. I'm joking. Hold on.
No, he's not joking. But if she dies, he's got to stuff her. He can't say she's dead. Otherwise, he doesn't keep getting that money from the city.
We'll have to ask him if he has a basement with a rocking chair.
Yeah. By the way, I'm here tonight, folks. I know you didn't think I was going to be, but you don't have to make me feel bad about that fact, So give me a call.
Everybody's in mourning.
Really? Why?
Because you said you weren't going to be on.
Oh, well, no, but then I abundantly aware. I mean, I put it on my Facebook page, which a lot of people go to. So they know, they know. Everybody knows except for Jack Bishop. Jack Bishop just doesn't know. Last night he's saying, Alex isn't going to be on tomorrow night. And I'm yelling at my fucking computer. I sent you a fucking email. Don't you read your emails? And then then I sent him a text today saying I am going to be on, and I've gotten no reply from him. So he's gone into this la la land where unless it's a 1950s comedy of some sort on television, he's not aware.
Ew.
I like to communicate with my people. Damien, right? I think Damien knew it. And he acted appropriately. So. Whatever, maybe I shouldn't have done a show tonight. I said I wasn't going to, and then I did a show.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah. And Phil, I think, is still coming back from Maui, or he might be back from Maui and think I'm not doing a show tonight,
Sean, leave that open.
Leave what open?
For the cats.
What's he doing?
Because I have a fire going. My family room kitchen is big.
Is the cat still there?
Oh yeah, Kitty girl, she's dead asleep. But then there's Jingles.
Take your
pounds.
camera and show us that again, because it's so relaxing. We could just watch this and then all fall asleep. Okay?
Yeah.
Because there's nothing that looks more relaxing than a cat.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like snoozing by the fireplace.
Yeah.
Little bitch.
Does she ever go right up to the fireplace and singe your whiskers?
Never. None of my cats are like, what the hell is that?
I used to have a one of these, we had a furnace in the basement, and how it
That's scary.
how it warmed up the living room upstairs in San Anselmo was by a heater that gave heat that came up over this grate that was in the the floor of the living room upstairs.
Nice.
All right. The only problem with it was his grate got hecka hot, and sometimes it was the middle of the night, and I was walking around barefoot, and I would hit the thing, and for years I had grill marks on my feet, you know. But I had a cat, and he loved it because it was heat. Cats love heat, right? But he would sit there with his face over it.
What a psycho.
And his whiskers were completely singed all the time. They were like turned into curls and things like that, you know. He was not the brightest cat in the world, but we loved him.
No.
We loved him, you know.
Good night.
Huh? Yeah.
Is she out?
She had to go to the bathroom. You know what she does now?
Oh,
I can say this.
What?
She comes down
You
to go to the bathroom, right?
I don't think I'm going to want to hear this. I don't think I'm going to want to hear this.
She's got to
I
hear
do.
the
I
water
want
on.
to hear it.
Come
Well,
on.
okay, so she what, Tony?
Turn the water on and leave. I says, Ma, can't you just go without hearing the water? I says, this is what I'm going to do when I get old. Turn the water on.
Yeah, that's what you're gonna do.
What do you got to? She's got to turn. I got to hear the water. Now leave. I'm going to leave. I said, I got to turn the water on. Yeah, it makes me go just in case there's any left. Oh, God.
If I feel I tell you what I do. If I feel like I have to shit, I go sit on the toilet. But then I start doing a crossword puzzle, and because I'm so involved in that, I can't shit. So then I haven't shit, but I've sat on the toilet for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I wonder why I have hemorrhoids. You know, I wonder why I have
Wow, because you're forgetting to go then.
yeah, well, yeah.
Sometimes I wish my cats would come in and hiss at me.
After
Say,
I get my death
Yes.
sentence on Monday, you know.
No, don't say that.
I'm just going to a doctor who gives you the correct medicine, which is lots of Rankins, lots of radiation.
Ugh.
Well, how many treatments do you have to go, Alex? A couple of days?
I don't know. Here's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this guy is the guy who did Rudy Giuliani.
Well,
Yeah.
you're in good hands then.
I guessed
There
that
you
one.
go.
I don't know. I'm in good hands, or either I'm in hands of a Republican. I don't know. But anyway,
That's true, but probably went- Ooh.
and I read on him, and he writes papers about
Ooh.
what they call radioactive seeds, okay, which they implant in your prostate. They go in there, and they just dot your whole prostate with these radioactive seeds.
Oh, wow.
And then you walk around with them, and after a couple of months, they just completely go dormant, and hopefully it's had an effect on your cancer. All right, and it's supposedly very effective. It supposedly does work, or at least works most of the time. I'm sure there's a percentage where it doesn't work, and that, of course, will be me. Anyway, that process, if he does it the way they normally do it, is a outpatient procedure. That you go into the hospital, they put you out, they stick those things in your ass, you know, in your prostate, and then they go send you into recovery. And as soon as you don't have any more wooziness, you can get up and go home. And that's it.
That's pretty easy then.
Takes an hour.
Just one visit.
Takes an hour, one visit. Yeah. Now I might have to take some hormones, which are going to make me turn into a woman. But outside of that, if it's just
give you my
this, it'd
mom
be
number,
fine.
we can
You know,
chat together.
and you just walk. According, you know, there's some problem with urination, a few little side effects early on with it, but then it pretty much, you know, it's not a big deal. Most guys return to work in 2 days.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I'll try to take off.
You know, so I'm thinking that's what he's going to recommend. I don't know. That's what he's going to recommend. Hell, he might tell me, "Hey, yeah, you've got some bad spots here, but you've got enough good spots that we should just wait and see what happens." You know.
Oh, wow.
So that happens too. But since he's an oncologist, I'm sure he's going to want to radiate me. You know, and the only thing I can't do is I can't have sex for about 2 weeks, and I can't I can't come close to a pregnant woman
Really?
or hug children for 2 months.
Because of the radiation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm radioactive.
So you pretty much got to stay. You got to be pretty much in the house.
No,
You got to be careful.
I'm
Though.
going out. I want to kill everybody I can come close to.
You should go visit Phil. God forbid. Imagine see Phil start turning colors.
No, it pretty much
joking.
remains in the area of the prostate. And I'm sure if you had a Geiger counter, you could probably pick it up. But, I guess by sticking the Geiger counter up my ass. But
So they must have made pretty big leaps then, right? Would you say with cancer from 30 years ago? I wonder if this was around back then.
this is you've got to remember the prostate cancer. To begin with, when people talk about cancer,
Yeah.
there's no one cancer, and the fact that we say cancer and then we all get, oh boy, cancer. Well, if I tell you pancreatic cancer, forget it, go home, tell your friends goodbye, and get your stuff in order. If you've got breast cancer, like Kathleen had, they excuse me, they put the Lee press-ons on.
Well, you know what? It's all about catching it early.
Yeah, and she caught it early. And look at her. How many years has it been, Kathleen? 20.
Forever. I don't know. I was like 32, so like 23.
23 years ago. So, and you gave her a nice pair of jugs. How much heft did you have at that time before you had the cancer?
Say what?
How much heft did you have before the cancer?
I was like a 32C, and then now I'm like a 42D.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah. Well, tell them what you did. You went to your doctor, and he said, "Well, it's only in one that we have to do."
Yeah.
And they said, "But we have to do the other one to even it out. What size do you want?" And you decided, go big.
They said no. Actually, he said he'll make it equal to my height. So I'm 6 feet tall. So that's why my
And so
friends
he
are
made
like,
so he
"Holy
made so he made her tits 6 feet tall. It was amazing.
crap." So my friends say I'm built like a superhero because I bodybuild and I'm in good shape.
Yeah. But I mean, so you got.
It's proportionate to my size.
Yeah. So one didn't need it, but she couldn't just do one. Well, they could do one to be the same size as the other, but they said, as long as we're doing this, how big do you want them?
Yeah.
And, but anyway, breast cancer is a little less dangerous than a lot of the others. You catch it early, and all of that, and you're good to go. In fact, I saw a thing tonight on the news in which a reporter at NBC got breast cancer. And she noticed it because she had done a story on breast cancer, and they said, breast cancer, you don't always feel a lump. Sometimes you can feel a dent. Okay.
Oh my God.
And so she said she felt a dent, and she remembered the story she had done, so she immediately went to her doctor, and they found that she had breast cancer. And they didn't seem to treat her by a mastectomy. They treated her by, what do you call it? Not radiation.
Chemotherapy?
Chemotherapy, yeah.
Yeah.
And which amazed me, because usually they just lop them off and that's it, and then you don't have to worry
Well,
about it.
you know what? The mastectomy is the Halsted mastectomy. That was William Stewart Halsted. But you know what? Apparently it was extremely invasive.
Ooh.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know what? Back in the 1800s, I mean, come on. But most of his patients, 80% survived.
Well, good. You know?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Today it's if they catch it early and everything, you're fine. Now, prostate cancer, you see, all these cancers are different.
Right.
Prostate cancer is the second most curable cancer, breast cancer being the most curable, prostate cancer being the second most curable. Yeah. And the reason is that especially at my age, it's probably confined to the prostate. And they just do some radiation on you, give you some, if it comes back, they give you the hormones, and that diminishes them, because prostate cancer cells diminish with the onslaught. They survive off of testosterone. So if you
Right.
rob the body of testosterone, the cancer shrinks and dies, believe it or not. So if, let's say, it goes out of my prostate and it goes elsewhere in the body, they can treat it through hormones to prevent it from continuing in the rest of my body.
Metastasizing.
Yeah, it's a different cancer than any others.
Right.
And if you catch it early enough, the reason it's the highest mortality for men is that a lot of guys just don't know they've got it, and they don't pay attention to the warning signs. And by the time, and they don't see their doctor as much. You know, when you're my age and you see a doctor every year, he gives you a PSA test, and
Right.
and it wasn't until recently that my PSA test started jumping upward, and so we
Right.
kept an eye on it that way. And when it went kind of wild, then we did some stuff on it.
That was like prior, so I had a cousin that passed away. So I have my son, and prior to having my son, that's when I researched the whole blood cord thing. And I called my mom and I said, should I save his blood cord? I've done the research in case Sean
Yeah, you
or
were saying
I
this the
get
other
cancer.
night.
And she said, absolutely. So I do. Because, I didn't know how my dad got his brain tumor. And, my grandfather died of melanoma.
Oh, wow.
So I had already had breast cancer. And so,
Well, melanoma is a skin cancer.
yes. So years later, my dad had been he had been a dentist tech in the Coast Guard. And that's, this was before the protection when they had the x-rays. So that's how he got his brain tumor.
Wow.
But when having my son, I didn't know that. And I just wanted to make sure that if something happened, we had, his blood cord just in case.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. But anyway, so answering your question, make it simple, Tony. I'm my doctor. I said, is this what's going to kill me? And he said, no. He said, it's just going to be annoying. That's all. So, I mean, what is it? As I said before, the reason I have it, the main reason I have it is because I'm 80 years old. That's the main reason I have it. I didn't have it when I was younger, but it's because I reached 80. Hey, I reached fucking 80. So what am I
Exactly.
griping about?
Yep.
I'm seeing all these other people around me dying or getting strokes or whatever. And, the worst thing I've got is a little touch of the cancer.
Right.
So, we'll wait.
Why
and see.
is it
I
that
mean,
the
I could
older
hear,
you
I
are-
could hear from the doctor, oh no, it's spread and you're going to die in 10 months. That I could get that, but I doubt it.
You know what? Why is it that when you're older, it slows down, but when you're younger, the prostate cancer is more, it's worse?
Because it's not when you become 80, your chances of having prostate cancer is something like 70%. When you're in your 60s, it's like much lower than that. But when
aggressive.
they get it, it's more aggressive. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like Phil, when he got it, it was more aggressive. I mean, I have one little of the cores that they took out. One of the cores was kind of aggressive, or two of the cores. One of the cores was aggressive. The other core had the same aggression, but it was like 15% instead of 45%. So the chances are that I don't have a bad deal here. It's just, hey, we'll get some seeds in you, and you go home and you get on with your life, and hopefully I won't have to take.
Marjorie is 100% healthy.
No,
Aw.
no.
No, I mean, she doesn't have cancer. She's all good.
Well,
I mean, maybe
we
aches
don't
and
know.
pains,
We don't know if
but
she doesn't have cancer.
Thank you.
No, because they did a CT scan on her spine, and then they shot her lung, and they found a little spot on her lung. Now it could be anything,
Right.
because the doctor who looked at it just said you got a spot on your lung. He doesn't know
Right.
from this kind of stuff, so she's going to go to another doctor to take a look at it. But chances are she's fine. She has all the. I mean, I'm so happy that I have cancer, and I'll tell you why. Because for years she's been trumping me with her illnesses. She's had the bad back, she's had the bad spine, she's had the bad this, she's had the bad that, and now
whatever.
Hey babe,
Kneecaps for years.
I have the big C. I have cancer. I take out the garbage. I'm sorry, I can't. I have cancer.
Yeah, but you know what? Who's working their ass off every day?
She is, but she doesn't have cancer. That's why.
Oh.
Thank God.
Chutes and ladders. Life is all about chutes and ladders.
Listen, you have no idea how much I appreciate her working. And I
Yeah.
wish I could. I guess the thing I feel worse about in my life is that I can't contribute to the family welfare. At this point. And up until I left Sirius, I was making good bucks. I had money coming in. I was taking care of us and her. I mean, I was taking care of us, and she was just taking care of her. But it's I don't know. I appreciate it. I really do. If you're listening, darling,
Yeah.
we have a new term between us to make other people feel uncomfortable, like you and I had
Yes.
schmooty, and it's simply honey. The word honey. And the reason
Yes.
is the other day I called up and I needed honey for tea because I had laryngitis and I wanted to have honey for the tea, and I called her up at the office and I said, "Where's my honey?" And she says, "I'm right here."
Oh, that's sweet.
And so since then, whenever we talk to each other, "Am I your honey?" "Yes, you my honey." So we've got the equivalent of schmooty going.
Exactly. That's the way it should be.
And then when we're in public, what we like to do is two old people start tongue kissing.
I saw your show when she was getting ready to leave. She was going to go to bed. Man,
Yeah.
I was dying.
Yeah. How was your mother's funeral, by the way? I mean, I hate to ask that because it's not like, it was really great.
The funniest part.
The pastries were nice.
Luckily, I knew my
Mother
mom.
didn't
We
say
all knew my mom was going to die, so we had a whole month to apologize for our assholeries, to say this is what I want to do with this. I mean, at one point I'm crying and I told my mom, I can't do an open coffin funeral, no way. And she goes, "Well, my mother looked so beautiful." I go, "I wouldn't know. I was in the back row." And we're dying laughing. So we get to her memorial service, and it was sweet because all my cousins flew in, my nieces and nephews. So we're sitting there, and I look because she was cremated, and on the urn it says, "Joanne Parkin and Spookers Forever." And I said, fuck yes. My mom had her ashes mixed with their cat.
Oh, wow.
And so when my dad passes away, his ashes are going to get mixed with my mom and Spookers.
What is this?
the
Is this a Halstead cocktail?
Totally. And you know what? And my brother Mike, Mr. ILM, he spoke. My aunt spoke. My uncle spoke, and I spoke.
What's his
And then
title? By the
we
way,
went over to what?
What's his title at ILM now?
He's probably CGI supervisor.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
So and we all spoke. Then we went to my cousin's house for a big wake, and it was wonderful. Prior to my mom's passing, I told her, I said, when you cross over, you need to let me know you're okay, or I'm not going to be able to handle this. And so the first night, I for the most part, I don't dream. I'm a comatose sleeper. And so the second night, she came to me, her hair was cut. She was happy. She said, "I'm okay." She gave me a hug. She was knitting. And after that, I was on cloud 9 because I know she's okay.
Yeah. When you don't dream, but you do have nightmares, because when you were sleeping with me, you would get up in the middle of the night, see who you were sleeping with, and then scream. So
Very funny. Never.
She's snoring.
Nice try.
Yeah, she snored, by the way. She snored really bad. She was she was disgusting.
You know, I did dream too of my father. I think I don't know if I told you that, Alex.
You did.
I did. I don't know if I did. I tell you?
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know what happened is my sister did dream. She says it was a couple of weeks after. Downstairs, I found old photos that I was in the bin getting stuff out, and I found a box of old photos from his mother in big box, and I opened it up. There were old photos from Brooklyn, like they were in the 40s and 50s. So I brought them up for my mother. I says, "Ma, I found all these old photos." So she's like, "Wow, I'm going to scan them into the computer and save them." So okay. So that night, I don't know if it was that night. Maybe it was a week or two later. I went to sleep, and when you come into the house, downstairs in the basement is where my comics are. The basement's redone. So the photos were in the front where I work, scanning stuff. And when I dreamed, I came in the side door with the dog. I let the dog go upstairs into the apartment, and the light was on going downstairs. So I said, "Oh, the light's on. Maybe I left it on." So I walked down the stairs and I opened the door, and then where my work desk is, where I scan stuff, and I see somebody there looking through photos, and he turns around, and it was my dad, and he was happy, and he kind of waved me over. And when I walked over, he had photos on the desk, and then I woke up. I told my sister, she broke down crying.
Yeah, well,
Emotional.
that happens. I never had that with my father when he died. I was told by Ronnie that I did cry in my sleep that night.
You did.
Yeah.
See, you were close to your dad, Alex, too.
Yeah. But that it didn't really hit me that my father was dead. And this happens to a lot of people. About a year later, it hit me like a bolt of lightning because all of a sudden I said to myself, "Oh, this is great. I got to tell my father about this."
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And then I realized, of course, that I couldn't. And then I had a major crisis for a while.
You were depressed, Alex, or no?
Huh?
Were you depressed? You remember me asking, or you were just sad?
I was depressed. I mean,
Yeah.
I loved him. When my mother went, it was like, well, to begin with, she was 100, so she was only
yeah.
at that point, she was taking up parking spaces,
It's still hard, though. Yeah, aw.
Yeah.
No, you know what? When my mom started going downhill, and Alex, you were talking about ending your show, I thought, shit. You know what? I need to get a hold of Alex, ask him if he doesn't mind me being on his show. And really, it was a godsend because not only were you there for me, but Tony was there for me because
lucky you.
Oh no!
Wait till you start
I'm
sending.
gonna tell you
Wait
something.
till you start sending you pictures of Scooby Doo and the Flintstones, and you'll be
you're right.
you'll want to kill him.
No,
Yeah, you're right.
because that is totally up our alley.
Well, I have made him. I've literally banned him from my Facebook messaging.
He did,
Really?
Hmm?
I did send you
really
a nice
the
message. I
only
don't know if you read it
person-
or not.
Tony is
I don't know if
really
it got
the
to
only
me. I think
person-
you're blocked. I think
I sent a nice message
actually
to
I
you.
think I unblocked you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what it was? Her mom was going through the hospice, and I kind of went through it, and it is really hard.
Oh yeah, and it's not easy. It's not easy.
You know, Alex, there was a point where I couldn't believe I was saying this. I actually, when you start questioning out loud, I said, "Listen, I don't know if there's a God or not." I said, "If there is, can you please just take him already?" I mean, I felt bad even saying that.
Exactly.
Because I was like, I couldn't. I mean, I was like, am I being selfish?
My brother Mike was with my mom when she passed, and I said, "Shit, dude, there's no way," because when I was with my mom, like 4 days before, I was holding her hand, just sobbing, and when her breathing would get funky, I was bumping the bed.
Yeah, I was bad.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Well,
even sleep.
maybe we shouldn't talk about this.
Yeah, I mean,
because
I don't
it's
want you to
bringing
get
back.
too
It's
upset.
bringing back.
Yeah.
She's reliving it now.
Yeah, it's hard. I don't mean to get you upset.
Yeah, that's okay. It's all right. We're here with you.
We're here. It's good to cry. I mean, it is. I can hold it in pretty good, but if I let it out, forget
I'll tell you what I
about
told Tony when his aunt died.
it. Make you feel better.
He phoned up. He said my aunt just died, and I said
I had my clothes on.
I said to him, you see, I have this friend, Penn Gillette, who years ago, when I break up with a girlfriend, would go, "Well, I never liked her anyway." you know. And I go, but you hardly even knew her. And he said, no, I just say that to everybody when they leave their girlfriend because nobody wants me to say, hey, how could you leave somebody so sexy like that and so wonderful as that woman? No, they want to hear, you know. So he calls me up and he says, my aunt died. And I, in my comedic moment, just absolutely just spit out without thinking about it. Well, I never liked her anyway. And he started, and tell what happened. He started crying.
I did.
And this is
I was really bad.
this is over at Sirius XM, you know. And the last thing you ever want to have happen with a caller is for you to make them cry because you look like the bad guy, like the worst guy in the universe. Okay.
You know what it was? I think it was the moment, and she was my godmother, so she would spoil me.
Yeah.
And I had my clothes on the bed, and I was like, "Oh God, I just looked like I wasn't going to sleep."
Wait a minute. I couldn't even make up for it because he cried so badly he hung up. So
I was really bad.
I couldn't say, "Come on, Tony." You know, I was only kidding. She was probably a wonderful person. Get over it. I couldn't give him the pep.
You're going to hell.
Yeah.
I put a good word for him, so he'll be all right.
Yeah.
No, I remember going to Vegas. Remember, Alex? We went to Vegas and we had lunch with Penn Jillette.
Yeah.
And the whole time he was talking about himself and his fuck swing and this and that. I was ignoring him.
Well, no. Here's the thing. It was the time I finally got mad at Penn, and really stopped talking to him because he recognized everybody at that table who was a man, but he wouldn't recognize you. It was like you weren't there. Well,
you know what? I just ignored him. And then you told me after that, he would always say, hey, Alex, how you're doing? Hey, how's your friend Kathleen? Because the whole time I just ignored him and looked off. Everybody else.
But I was mad because, you know, hey, you were my girlfriend and I have a little respect for my girlfriend, you know, but instead it was like you almost weren't there.
I was not impressed by him at all.
Yeah. Well, he'd like to think you were, you know, but well, she really wanted me. No, he didn't ever say that. Never said it.
Wrong.
Yeah, but it's
people's stardom didn't impress me. I was with you because you were Bennett Gordon Schwarzman.
Yeah. You were very protective of that, by the way.
Very. Yeah. And you know, to this day, I still am.
Well, you know what I always would do if I met a woman and I went out with her and I even liked her and we dated and whatever, and then I heard anything about the fact that she was bragging to her friends about who she was going out with, that was it. We were finished, you know. I had a girlfriend I went with for 11 years. I eventually found out she was doing that with her hairdresser, saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going out with Alex Bennett," you know. And I didn't expect that out of her, and that kind of made breaking up with her a lot easier.
Hey, you know what? Whatever happened to Violin Girl? Because remember, you and I used to eat fast, and she was bless her heart, she was the slowest eater
ever.
Yes. But just the sweetest person.
Well, she was a violinist. You know.
Yes.
And she, I think the world of her. I still am in communication with her.
She was the nicest person.
Yeah.
She was probably the nicest ex-girlfriend of yours I ever met. Michelle and all the rest of them, I was like, I don't like you. I didn't like Michelle because of the whole Chuck Farnham thing.
Oh, that thing. Oh, well, we don't even want to get into that here. But that was another story altogether.
I went to your apartment to pick up, the Screwskin things I built.
Yeah.
I'm in there and I'm getting ready to pack this stuff up, and she's in there, and all of a sudden I stand up, all 6 foot of me, and I look down at her and I point at her and I said, "You can have those two. The rest of those are mine." And I think she ended up calling you. Yeah, she's going to kick my ass. I don't know. But I was like, ugh, you little fool.
Anyway, she was insignificant in my life, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, You know, I was always very protective about myself that way. You know,
Yes.
and that's why I liked you. So I never felt that you were going with me because I was Alex Bennett.
Oh.
Which, by the way, in case you're not aware, Charlie, I used to be a big shot. Yeah.
I know you used to be a big shot.
Yeah.
I've been watching you or listening to you for what, 12 years now.
Yeah, but you were hearing me at Sirius XM. By then, I was washed up. You know, I mean,
Yeah, but I Googled you and everything. I knew.
in San Francisco, I was a fucking star.
Totally.
Yeah.
When I gave you that stained glass window, I went to your studio
Yes.
and I give you the window, and all of a sudden you make me sit. I'm between Bobby Slayton and Bob Rubin, and I'm like, and Slayton says, "Sit, babe," and I was like, holy shit, this cannot be happening. So blah blah blah, the rest of the show, and then years later, what happens? My BFF, Alex Bennett.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. You know, I mean, it just was. I was.
It was meant to be.
Yeah. I mean, we had a good time together. You know.
Yeah.
And of course, I get this. Yeah. Sometimes I get this. Oops. Wait a minute. What's this? Oh heck!
It's
oh,
the professional.
No, I don't want that. Let's start it. It just started up. This is a show that Marjorie's been watching like for the last 5 years. And I download them for her so she can watch them, called Master Chef The Professionals, out of England.
Nice.
Out of England. And,
Ooh.
and it's like it goes on for, I don't know, 18 episodes or something, 3 days a week towards the end of the year. And they get all these professional chefs, and they all fight for a spot to be the #1 Master Chef professional.
Well,
and she
Chef
sits-
Tony's gonna win.
She sits there watching every one of these damn things, you know, like crazy. And then she's got another thing she watches. Have you seen this at all, Charlie? It's on Netflix. It's called Grand Designs, in which people are building these interesting homes, and they follow them. Every episode, they follow them in doing this whole thing, and half the time they can't even afford to finish the fucking thing. I mean, and she is just hooked on that show. She just loves that show. And then,
I can't wait till in February. It's like some Lego show where these Lego professionals have to build these elaborate Lego sets.
oh, you really have a
Okay,
lot.
I'm a nerd.
You have a
Thank
lot of
you.
fucking time on your hands.
Well, I won't be able to watch it, but you know what? I'll record it.
I'll tell you something. I was never a Lego person, but the reason I wasn't a Lego person was because Legos were invented way after I was a kid. Okay? That shows you how fucking old I am, folks. Okay?
You know what? I bought, like
You should
the
get
whole
those
Pirates
stuff
of the Caribbean thing. So I buy the Black Pearl for $99, and then 2 years later I sell it for $900. I mean, Legos appreciate better than
Wow.
gold.
Well, wait a minute. So what did I have when I was a kid? I had Lincoln Logs.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, I had those. I
Remember
remember
those?
toys?
to build cabins.
Yeah, I
I
like
wasn't
one.
thrilled. Got that for Christmas.
And there was another thing called Tinker Toys.
Yes.
I had that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
We
Tinker
put things
Toy.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah, you put
then
like
they
the,
had like the
different
circle, and you would put stuff in
Yes.
them, and
Yes.
My mother got
How
me.
about
that. I was
erector
very
set?
creative. Great
and
thing.
erector set I
Director
loved.
said, yeah.
But in
had-
those days, as a kid, it was very dangerous because you cut yourself on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But that was the good old days. We had the knockers, the glass knockers.
well, you had knockers.
What
But,
about? Did you get Light Bright? I remember that was a good game.
Yes,
I thought.
Light Bright was the
I used to be
bomb.
obsessed with that. I can sit there for hours.
No, but
My mother
anyway,
just plug that in, and that would be it for me.
Anyway, I loved but erector set I loved, but I mean I used to cut my hands and everything. But you would build these are metal girders, folks, and you would
Yes.
screw them
Yeah.
together with screws, and they
Yes.
give you a little wrench,
They were
you
the
know.
best.
and you could make stuff out of them. You could, and then they came out with motors that you could
Yes.
attach to them and make
Yep.
things spin and so on and so forth. Yeah. Yeah, those
When
were
my
the good
son-
old days. Those were the days of toys that could kill you.
Well, yeah, the glass knockers, you'd go knock, 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 and then you'd do the butterfly and they'd shatter and all the glass
All
would
over
hit
the
your
place.
eyes.
Did you ever do this, Alex?
Again,
I
you
know
had to
didn't
bring
do
up
this.
knockers.
Did you shake the box? Everybody,
What?
like I
Oh,
would shake the
Lord.
box. I used to get mad when they got me close. Oh,
I would shake the box, and she didn't
why
like
did
it.
you get me? She's, I gotta get you something. You gotta go to school. Oh, come on,
Yeah.
just get me toys.
Yeah. So what do
When
you?
my son was younger, I got him these. My brother Mike got him these magnet blocks. So they're these different shape and they're really flat. And so Sean would build these elaborate houses, and then he'd watch Beavis and Butthead, and he'd get his Lego figures, and he'd build the whole interior of the house. And then as he's watching the show, he would reenact everything they were doing.
So
I
I was
know.
watching the worst TV show ever. It was this thing they were doing today on the FBI and their investigation into Trump. Did you see any of that, Charlie?
No.
You're lucky. It was so fucking boring, I couldn't believe it. And you know what makes it so boring is that you know exactly what everybody's going to say and what position they're going to take. It's ridiculous. It's just amazingly bad. The reason I'm saying that is we're down to a low amount of people here, and I think it's because we're not talking politics tonight.
Mm.
There's a reason why we're not talking politics, folks. We're fucking sick of it.
Yes.
You know, I can't even get myself into it. I turn on MSNBC and I go, you know,
No,
I know what
it
I
was
know
like,
what they're going to
ooh,
say.
Clinton got impeached for an affair. Ooh.
Well, I like that one because at least there were blowjobs involved in it. You know, there's no
Definitely.
blowjobs involved in this.
Lots
And
of
Saturday
anatomical
Night
detail.
Live had a heyday like they're having a heyday now. I mean, Kate McKinnon doing Giuliani is effing hilarious.
She's doing them last week. I saw it. Yeah. She's funny.
But I mean, I just, you know, I mean, I with Clinton, I was just, I hated him during that whole thing, not for the reasons you think. I hated
Right.
him because he was fucking getting a blowjob. You know, and everybody's making like this is a bad deal, and I'm going, you know, the only thing he should have done was go around high-fiving.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Remember, God, what was that? Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. To have an affair is French. To get caught is American.
Yeah, right, yeah. But the thing is that and she's quite right. Monica Lewinsky, who became the butt of jokes, has done a lot of things about being the butt of jokes. That I mean, her entire life was ruined just by
Yes.
people and their jokes and their attitudes about her, and
Right.
that she never really had a chance to prove who she was. You know, and she's
Exactly.
a very intelligent, accomplished woman.
I
She's a
agree.
good-
I saw the whole documentary, and I
Yeah.
thought, you know what? Fuck you guys.
yeah.
I mean, she was a kid.
Yeah, and quite frankly, I understand, you know, why she gave the president a blowjob.
Yes.
Well, heck yeah.
she was infatuated by him,
Yes.
and she wanted to do anything
took
to keep him happy.
advantage.
No, he didn't take advantage. I think they were both
Yes.
taking advantage of each other.
Probably.
Okay, would you agree with that, Charlie? I don't
Yeah.
think it was a case of him taking advantage of her. I'm sure if she said no, he wouldn't have done anything. She in fact seduced him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, they were probably both outlets for each other.
Yeah.
Oh, Tony's stuffing his mom.
I compared that. If I had a chance to get with Jane Fonda when I was younger, I would have done it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, sure. Why'd you bring up Jane Fonda?
Oh, I don't know. I've always loved her.
Oh, okay. Well, I see.
She was,
It's the leggings.
It's funny. I was watching her last night in Barbarella because
Yeah,
I
that's
just
one of
watched the opening with her floating around and taking her clothes off, doing a strip, and I suddenly was amazed at how small her tits were.
Well, back then, yeah.
Did she have a job?
Oh, of course.
Oh, okay. Because they were not big. They were.
No, I loved them anyway. Boy, when that nude scene in Barbarella.
Yeah, yeah.
What's our shirt? Oh, I didn't realize it.
Oh, somebody heard us talking.
Was that his mother?
I think so.
That sounds like Psycho.
I'm going to start singing Amazing Grace.
Maybe that was over a speaker or something. You know, a little baby monitor thing.
Oh, it could be. He might have that to
Yeah.
check on her.
Yeah. Was that a baby monitor that we heard her on?
Who was that?
We just heard somebody talking.
Oh, that was my sister calling me. She wants me to buy something for my niece, so I'm going to order it for her later.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm sorry. She's like, do you realize it's 11:30? I said, I know. I have work tomorrow. She says, so do I.
We thought it was your mom.
Tony,
Yeah.
we're down to 19 people. Fuck you. Why should I be doing this?
I woke her up, I think.
Why should I be doing this? I mean, everybody got the idea Alex isn't on tonight. Well, check.
Yeah, totally.
You put it on your Facebook page, I saw it.
I'm getting to the point where what?
I saw it. I can read. Tony can read. Charlie can read.
Yeah. I even checked last night. I didn't see a message from you last night, but I checked.
Yeah.
I saw the piece of shit thing that said no Ramble tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, the reason I decided not to do the Ramble last night is I figured it'd be like tonight. Nobody would,
Yeah.
And I decided I would do it tonight because maybe everybody was waiting for me. But apparently, that's not the case. They're not even listening.
Ew.
Not even fucking listening. Boy, are they going to be surprised when they check the YouTube channel tomorrow and they see there was a show.
Yeah.
But
They'll be all, what the hell?
Yeah, Jane Fonda I thought was kind of hot, but something, I found Monica Lewinsky
She looked
hot.
like Henry Fonda with leggings on. I'm sorry, but she looks just like her dad.
She looks like
Peter looked nothing like him.
I never thought of Henry Fonda when I was looking at Jane.
Yeah, no. But
now
anyway,
you will.
Anyway, I was hot for Monica Lewinsky. Because because she was the kind of girl that in high school would have fucked me. Okay? When none of the other when none of the other girls would. And that's what I liked about her. She seemed like, she had enough of a lack of self-esteem that she wouldn't have sex with me. Okay?
Well, it's funny. My son and I watch Live PD, and there's this guy, Sean Sticks Larkin, and my son looks at him and goes, holy crap, he looks like Clinton. I go, dude, you are totally right. Now the guy's growing a beard, and I'm like, dude.
Don't do it.
You still look like Bill.
Bill with the beard.
Yes.
Bill didn't need a beard. No,
Nope,
that's a joke, but it's a very
just like Clinton.
Anyway, so I always liked I always thought Monica Lewinsky was kind of accessible. And that's why.
Here, honey, wear this beret.
Yeah, and then I kind of liked her. I mean, I thought as the years have gone on, I have a great deal of respect for the woman.
Well, you know what? All your girlfriends, you wanted to save. You wanted to be the knight in shining armor.
Well,
maybe.
Yes.
Well, I wasn't saving you from anything.
No, because I had my shit together.
Yeah. Well, and when Monica Lewinsky had a certain something in which I felt that there was a certain vulnerability there, and I liked that. And I thought he was very lucky.
You know what? I felt bad for her, and then her mom
Because
and
quite
dad.
frankly, if I had to,
just felt awful
if
for
I
her.
had to fuck Hillary every night, I would go insane. No wonder.
Hillary was pretty cute when she was young.
Huh? Hillary was
When
very
she was
cute when she was
young.
young. She never had a cute day in her fucking life.
Oh, God.
But you know what? They were strictly a political couple.
Yeah.
What it was is they were a political. You're right. They were political junkies, and they suited each other. You know.
Yeah.
It was terrific. You know. So.
Yeah, but you know what? They'll both enjoy each other in hell.
By the way, to the rest of our audience, you've just got 20 minutes left to make this a full house.
They're like, we're not touching this with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, I mean, it's fine. The only thing is, I'm facing with this whole prostate thing, the possibility of never being able to get an erection again. Which I don't know if that's bad news because I'm 80. I made it to 80. You know, still getting erections. But
It's true. Some of the people 80 ain't even walking.
well, I mean, you know, but now they're going to give me medicine and stuff that's probably going to deprive me of all of this, the radiation, whatever. You know.
But that should wear off
What's
enough.
more important,
No.
an erection or life?
Well,
An
some
erection.
Wow.
Apparently, Kathleen, you're not a guy, and you don't have any idea about this. We'd rather be dead than not get an erection.
I can get both. I mean, I can get him or her. So it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you know, it's yeah, you know. I mean, it's amazing how you go through life. You would just think if there was a God, God would just at the end of your life give you little bonuses. You know, give you a little, give you stuff, and instead,
Speaking of God,
they
my
ju-
son wanted to know, because he despises Christmas,
yeah,
can Gentiles celebrate Hanukkah?
yes,
Yes. Thank you.
just like Jews can celebrate Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's going to make him happy.
And I'll tell you, there isn't a Jew alive that doesn't resent the fact that he didn't have Christmas. You know?
Exactly. Well, you know what? The reason we don't, you know, have much to do with his father is that he's an anti-Semite.
Oh my God.
Oh, really?
And both my son and I have huge issues with that.
With the father of your
With
child?
Simone. Yep.
Hmm.
And my son is actually he's furious because he goes, you know, why did dad disappear? I go, I don't know, but I'm going to tell you something. I said, you know, he's an anti-Semite. And so I explained the whole thing because most of my friends are Jewish. And my son was horrified. And he said, you know what? F my dad. If that's the way he's going to be, then you know what? I want nothing to do with him.
Did you wind up, you didn't never married him?
Nope.
But did you wind up going with him because there was something you
Well,
liked
he was
about
my
him?
bodybuilding partner for 4 years. So what happened is then, you know, he and I used to hang out, and then we started bodybuilding together, and then he moved to Mexico, and we didn't get involved until he moved to Mexico. And then we had Sean, and everything was
Wait a minute,
fine.
you didn't get involved till he went to Mexico? Boy, he must have had a large penis. That went over the border
No,
and
I mean,
up
it
the
was just
coast.
way- I mean, we had feelings for each other. So I used to go down there, and then we had Sean, and then it was probably maybe 6 years later when he'd come up here, he'd make all these comments.
He never made them before that.
Nope.
Wow. Because
And he also had issues with his Mexican folks down in Mexico. But when he came up here and he started spewing all his stuff, especially with Hollywood and stuff, it was so stereotypical.
yeah. Well,
my
I
neighbor coming across the street to give me some
I tell the story about this woman I was dating, and we took her out to dinner, and we're getting in the car, go back to my place, And I'd never had sex with her up to this point, but I knew this was going to be a sure thing tonight, okay?
Right.
As we're driving down the Bowery, which is one of the worst parts at that time in New York, she's saying to me, I'll tell you, if I just don't know what's up with these niggers.
Oh, wow.
And then she starts spouting a diatribe about black people using the N-word, excuse me,
Right.
Charlie, but it was important for me to use that word in this context.
Oh, I
and
understand.
she kept going and she kept going. She kept going. I'm at a stoplight in the Bowery. And I reach across, open the door, and say, "Get the fuck out," as some guys are trying to clean and wash my windows. Okay? She's in the middle of the Bowery with all these bums, and I just took off and left her there. I think I said something about never talk about people that way again.
Right.
And that was one of the few nights in my life I was proud of myself. I had given up a sure thing. And Charlie knows as a guy what a sure thing means to all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want, so, I don't understand. I guess he just never appeared to be anti-Semitic until after you had Sean.
Yes. I mean, my family, I'm half English, probably a quarter Portuguese, and a quarter Italian.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Halsteads, Vargas, and Castelluccio.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, when he came over here and all of a sudden, 6 years later, he's spewing all this stuff. I remember my neighbor came from across the street and he gave me a bunch of fruit and I was almost in tears. And I love my neighbor, Jim. And he goes, "What's going on?" I said, Simone won't stop. He's going on about the Jews here and there. And he goes, "His name's Simone." I go, "Right, Shimon."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "This will be the last year." And after that, I never allowed him over again. And so he called Sean for his birthday and he's talking about coming up to Sacramento for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I just told Sean, I want nothing to do with him. And Sean goes, "I totally agree."
Yeah, I mean, it's a question of what do you do in a situation like that? The problem here that you have is that he is, of course, Sean's father.
Yes.
And yet you don't want to be around him because of his anti-Semite leaning.
And you know what? Neither does Sean. Because Sean's second mom, my best friend, is Jewish. So this year, I already have my menorah. She goes, "Girl, let's celebrate Hanukkah." And Sean goes, because Sean hates Christmas because the whole thing's a lie.
Yeah.
And I said, "Would you?" And my son goes, "Yes." And so she goes, "Okay, I'm coming over December 22nd. It's going to be a big deal." And I go, "Sean, are you good?" And Sean's in heaven. Yes.
Yeah.
But Sean wanted to know, he said, "Ask Alex if it is okay for us to celebrate." And I go, "Okay, I will."
Oh, it's fine. It's fine if you want to celebrate. I don't know why, but go right ahead. It's a celebration based on another myth.
Well, of course, the Maccabees, Judas Maccabees.
Well, no. It was about that there was only enough oil to keep the lamps lit for one day.
It lasted 8 days.
It lasted 8 days.
Yes.
And that's because they were cheap and they wouldn't let out the oil.
Come on.
But it's another myth, But we are led to believe it, and we have our tradition in that. It's a nice little holiday,
Yes.
It's
it's funny, religion. Is it there just to give us, now with everybody passing, is it there just to give us hope, you think, Alex?
No, it's there to
else?
there to give professions to these people who have nothing to do with their lives.
No, Tony,
what
need to tell them what you said to the nuns.
But happens
how they
is,
all dress the same? I used to always get in trouble. My mother's like, "Shut up! After you make confirmation, you don't have to come." I used to laugh in their face. I said, what's so funny? Because they would have says, why are you all dressed the same? I was being a wise ass. I knew what I was saying.
Do they go quack, quack?
He's a smarty pants. My mother used to pull my hair. Like my mother used to pull my little hair. Charlie, you know that little hair that hurts?
Little hair that hurts?
Keep it up. You're going to get it when I get home. Just shut up and sit down. Your father will pick us up when we leave. Really? She knows I was being a wise guy.
Yep.
I mean, I was always exposed to like both cultures. I always found it fascinating, like you said, like how they always have these crazy stories. And how can they really know if it's accurate? And one time I said that in religious instructions, she got mad. She's like, "Are you questioning us?" It was almost like
prove to me that Christ prove to me
unreasonable.
Prove to me that Christ ever existed, or that
that
Christ wasn't 5 different guys. You know, the Christ who was born in Bethlehem was not the Christ that died on the cross. That they were 2 entirely separate incidences that, for the sake of mythology, were brought together as one story. You know,
I swear, me going to Bible study and I don't go anymore, and they're probably like, "Thank you, Jesus." Well,
you know what? I gotta tell you something.
Which is Joshua.
I gotta tell you something.
You know what? In ancient archaeology, they're finding headstones that thank Yahweh and his Asherah.
Yeah, well, wait a minute. There's one thing that that I now I forgot what I was going to say. There were always things that bothered me about religion, in general. But the thing that always bothered me about Christ was just the mythology that of the whole thing is a mythology. Do we know that there was a Christ who really died back in that time?
Exactly.
Or was it, to begin with, the story of Jesus as we know it wasn't codified till 80 years later.
Right.
Yeah. And so what went on before? What myth were they trying to preserve?
Right.
And
that's a good point.
And so whatever they wrote down might have well been a lie or an extension of the truth, and that there might have not been anybody such as Jesus Christ of Nazareth. We have no proof of it.
Nope.
You know what I do believe in?
Over the summer, I read Flavius Josephus. So I read the Jewish Antiquities, which is basically it's basically the Old Testament. And my friends were like, "What the hell?" And then I read Tacitus, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is like a soap opera." Yeah. I had to take notes and say, "Oh my God, Julius Caesar, that's not his real name. His real name is this." And so my question was, in Bible study, I said, how come in the Bible all the women are whores, sisters, or mothers? But if you look at Roman history, Greek history and Egyptian history, all the women are very powerful.
They're gods.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And they
so Tony.
You know what I do believe? I bought a book. I bought some of the books. They had it on Bill. I'm on Bill Gates' reading list, and he read this, The Search for the Apostles, or the so-called apostles after the. He was believing that I do believe this. I think there was a group of Jewish holy men that might have been having different faiths.
Right.
And then they spread out. I don't know, like you're probably right, Alex. It was probably because they were crucifying people left and right back then, weren't they, Romans?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, anybody could have been a false god, because if you think about it, I kind of think about it like, let's say you rose up, Alex, and
by
you
the
were
way,
a powerful
by the way,
preacher.
do you ever wonder how people died from crucifixion?
They bled to death, right?
Asphyxiation.
No, that's correct.
Really?
Did you say that? Did you say that too, Charlie?
It says suffocate. Yeah.
Asphyxiation. What it is, if you put somebody up on a cross like this, for something like only 3 hours, their lungs collapse, and
very rarely did they have crossbars.
Yeah, and then you of course your pressure on your hands, your lungs collapse after 3 hours, and you can't breathe, and that's how you die.
You know what I was thinking? Because back then when they were killing people, let's say you rose up, you were a well-read person who could, other people were literate.
Or whatever.
If you would have rose up against the Romans and say, "Hey, listen, this guy's got a lot of followers. We got to get rid of him." They're not going to talk to you. They're going to probably kill you.
Well, you know what always got me about the Catholics, Tony? When I was growing up in on Telegraph Hill in North Beach in San Francisco, the most Italian place on planet Earth at that time.
Yeah.
I was always referred to as the dirty Jew in the neighborhood.
That had to be mean.
Yeah, wait a minute. But the thing was that I always got this. How come your people killed Christ?
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, and I would go ask my father, and he'd say, "Well, we didn't kill Christ, but
it was the Romans.
The Romans.
yeah,
Thank you.
you know, we didn't kill Christ. Yeah, the Romans did it, but it was always what the Jews said. The Romans did it, but there were people who believed that the Jews killed Christ, and you know, when we go to this whole question of anti-Semitism, the question is, why is it coming back? What
Exactly.
you know? What I mean, I've often had a joke about, you know, first the Romans tried to kill the Jews, and then the Spaniards tried to kill the Jews, and then the Germans tried to kill the Jews. What are we doing that's pissing them off? You know, I couldn't figure that one out. What are we
You know
doing?
what? It is pure ignorance.
No, but why? Why the Jews? What do we have, especially at this point in time? You know. Why is there an anti-Semitism against it? And that anti-Semitism, I hate to say this, Charlie, exists in the black community a lot.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. My dad was an anti-Semite.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
He hated Jews.
Did he ever say why?
Well, because he thought he was being ripped off by the Jewish guy running the cleaners down the street, and the Jewish guy in the restaurant or whatever.
Well, you know what the problem was in a lot of neighborhoods, in the United States that became black communities. They had previously been Jewish communities. They'd been Jewish ghettos. Okay, and then the Jews somehow rose up and started making some money and started acquiring things and were able to move out of the ghetto. All right, so the blacks moved in to these ghettos, but what was left that was Jewish was they still kept their stores.
Yeah.
Right.
And so the only contact that these black people had with Jews were these shop owners who many times were unscrupulous. They would raise the rates on the day the welfare checks came out, things like that. And so Jews were getting a bad rap for being like those merchants who remained in the ghetto. And that's where I think the anti-Semitism came from with black people. So, you know. And I'm sorry I can't make every Jew a good Jew. Hey, you know, we got a minute left? 2 minutes left? What is it? How much
Wow.
time?
It's an interesting show.
How much time do we have left? Yeah, I just talked myself into almost running over. Maybe I should run. Maybe I should run over because Jack doesn't think we're on tonight, and I can prove to him that we are.
And Phil is probably dancing with the shark, or
Oh my God.
the shark ate him.
He's on a plane back from Maui.
Whatever.
So
He's probably going to land in Arizona, fly to New York, and then go back to San Francisco.
yeah, he's got that whole
Yeah.
thing where he wants to get into that club or whatever they have at the airport.
He's the only guy on a
Yeah.
5-hour flight for 20.
Yep. Well, anyway, let me see here. I'll start the theme about 10 seconds early. Boy, this has been nice. You know, fuck all of you who didn't call tonight because you didn't think I was going to be on. This is one of the best shows we've done in a long time, and none of you were part of it. Okay?
Nope.
But Charlie was. Kathleen was, better known as Schmoody. I keep telling Marjorie about the Schmoody thing and how it just annoyed the shit out of people. And that's why we do it, okay?
Yes.
And then when she came up with honey, I said, now we got our own.
Yes.
You know? And I'm thinking of letting it metamorphosize to honey bear and honey boo boo.
Yeah, honey bunny.
Yeah, honey boo boo. No, I wouldn't want to call her honey boo boo.
No.
No, we couldn't do
Honey boopy.
that. Honey boopy. Oh, that's good. You know. Yeah, just write them down and send them to me, because you're good at that sort of thing. Anyway, thank you so much, Charlie. Appreciate it, and I appreciate you, Kathleen, for knowing I was on tonight, and Tony for not knowing I was on tonight, but calling anyway because he thought I might be. Yeah. Right? right?
Yeah,
Thank you,
I
Tim.
watched your page. I knew you were coming on. I just had to get her going a little bit.
See, Jack? He looks at my Facebook page.
I do.
He reads emails, Jack,
What is
and
it?
knows I was going to be on tonight. But it's because on his show last night he said I wasn't going to be on tonight. That's why nobody called. Okay? All right? It's your fault, Jack. Jack Bishop is next, by the way. Hey, thanks. Thanks to all of you. I really appreciate it. Give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give you a big wave goodbye back. There we go. There they go. There goes our citizen panel for tonight. There's going to be one right after me with Jack Bishop and wait a minute, Jack Bishop and the I think I heard that Jack Bishop and the intersection aren't going to be on tonight. That's what I think I heard. Anyway, I'll see you again tomorrow night, same time, same station in life. Right after Damian Chaplin does the exchange. And then, let's see, what comes after that? Oh, yeah, me at 10 o'clock. Same time, same station in life. And as always, if you see honey, tell her that I love her, okay? Bye-bye, everybody. Have a nice night.